Hello everyone, how are you? Today we will watch a short retelling of the movie Time. In the future world, mankind has opened the way to immortality, and now people are genetically programmed so that they stop aging when they reach the age of 25. Time has become the only currency that everyone is trying to get in any way possible so as not to die. A person learns about the time at his disposal by a luminous watch implanted on his left hand. The action takes place in two neighboring cities, the ghetto Dayton and wealthy New Greenwich. In the ghetto, people have very little time and every day someone dies as the cost of living increases day by day. 28-year-old ghetto worker Will Salas lives with his mother one day. Every day they earn time for the next. On his mother's birthday, she turned 50. Will and his friend Boral in a bar notice a guy who has 116 years on the clock. He treats everyone all day, and Will tries to explain to him that here he can easily lose all his time. Suddenly, sentinels appear, robbers who steal time from people. The leader of Fortis offers the rich man to compete for his time. Fights are based on holding the opponent's hand down and taking away the entire supply from him. Will saves the guy and takes refuge with him in an abandoned building. Henry Hamilton, that's the rich man's name, tells Will that he's tired of his life at 105. He also reports that for the eternal life of the rich, poor people must die. In addition, universal immortality will lead to overpopulation and the death of mankind. Therefore, the world is divided into time zones. Will and Henry fall asleep. The next morning, while Will sleeps, Henry gives him all his time, leaving himself only 5 minutes, and leaves for the bridge over the river. Will, waking up, sees 116 years on his watch and the words, "Don't waste my time," on the window. Will runs to the bridge, but falls short as Henry runs out of time and falls into the river. At this moment, Will was filmed by a security camera. Will tells Boral about the time he got and gives him 10 years, saying that he intends to take his mother to New Greenwich. By this time, the Sentinels discover the body of Henry Hamilton and realize that he managed to transfer all his 116 years to someone. Also, the Guardians of Time are beginning to take an interest in the case. This is the police investigating crimes related to time. In the evening, Will's mother, after paying the bills, finds out that the bus fare has risen to 2 hours and she only has an hour and a half. Despite all of her persuasion, the driver did not agree to give her a ride and Rachel is forced to flee. She dies a second before Will could give her time. Will travels to New Greenwich alone, determined to find out the truth about what Henry Hamilton told him. He stays at the best hotel, dines at the best restaurant, buys a fancy car and goes to the most expensive casino. Over a game of poker, he meets Philip Weiss, a tycoon and owner of a time bank. Will risks all his time and wins 1,100 years. Philip introduces the lucky gambler to his daughter Sylvia and invites him to a party. At the celebration, Sylvia admits to Will that the rich, who live for hundreds of years, live these centuries boring and monotonous. They lack the courage to take risks. Unexpectedly, the Guardians of Time arrive at the reception, having figured out who received so many years in reserve from Henry Hamilton. Their leader, Leon, arrests Will for allegedly robbing Hamilton and takes almost all the time, leaving 2 hours for the protocol to be drawn up. Will escapes, taking Sylvia hostage. He attempts to return to Dayton and hide there, but along the way, their car gets trapped by the Sentinels. Bandits steal almost all of Sylvia's time. Now the fugitives had only half an hour left in order to get at least a little for a living. Will runs to Boral to borrow at least some, but from his wife he suddenly learns that his friend is no longer alive. For the time given to him by Whittle, he bought drinks in a bar and died from alcohol poisoning. The heroes had only a few minutes left, and they managed to go to the pawn shop, where they sell Sylvia's earrings and help out 1 day for each. Will calls Philip Weiss and demands, as a ransom for his daughter, to transfer 1,000 years to a charitable foundation. But Weiss can't let the extra years end up in the ghetto. Will, realizing that he can't do anything, wants to send Sylvia back, but Leon tries to attack him during a phone call. Sylvia, using the gun Will gave her, shoots Leon and saves Will. He shares his time with the wounded Guardian, as his supply is running out and he would hardly have had time to live before the arrival of help. Sylvia, who understands the life of people in the temporary ghetto, becomes Will's accomplice and falls in love with him. Together, they begin robbing Weiss banks, distributing stolen time to the poor. But one day they are found by the same sentinels. Fortis, the leader of the gang, offers Will a time wrestling match, an analog of arm wrestling, the goal of which is to pin the opponent's hand to the table and pump out his time. Will defeats Fortis with a move his father once showed him and kills his accomplices. The heroes again have to flee as they are overtaken by the Guardians. Realizing that petty robberies won't help change the situation, Will and Sylvia attack Weiss's office. After a robbery and chase, Will gives a time capsule with 1,000,000 years to his friend Maya so that she can distribute it to all the people in the ghetto. The time guard Leon, who also happens to be from Dayton, catches Will and Sylvia, but the guard neglected to recharge the daily allowance, and as a result, he dies. A couple of robbers have half a minute to run to his car. Will is on time, recharges his daily allowance, and shares the time received with Sylvia. The people of Dayton, given enough time, move on to the new Greenwich zone. The system is collapsing, and Will and Sylvia go to rob a new, bigger bank. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more videos on the channel. See you!